Welcome to Philadelphia. You know, it's a funny thing that people in Britain often accuse Bruce Springsteen of writing songs that are a little bit too much larger than life, a bit too much like the movies. Well, we arrived here last night to find the city in the middle of a gang war. Sal Tester, third in charge of the local mob, was dispatched with a couple of bullets behind either ear and dumped somewhere in a ditch in the swamps of Jersey. And as Bruce Springsteen put it in the song Atlantic City, on the boardwalk they're definitely getting ready for a fight. Well, so much for fiction and so much for this being the city of brotherly love. It is, however, very definitely Bruce Springsteen country. Back in the 70s, in the early 70s, this was one of the few places where you could actually hear a Springsteen record on the radio. Nowadays, of course, you don't really hear much else, but that's mainly because he's here, he's in town to play, and in a sense, he's come home.
Cover me, Bruce Springsteen. We're going to give you another chance here at WIOQ.
And this is the place where Springsteen's playing tonight. A modest little ice hockey stadium called the Spectrum. It seats a paltry 20,000. And Bruce is playing here for just the 6 nights. Now, he can afford to do that because his reputation has been built not so much on recorded success, although Born in the USA did go platinum over here more or less as a matter of course, but on stagecraft, on his ability to occupy a stage like that for anything up to 5 hours, and to give people something that they don't often get in these days of MTV and video and the 12-inch remix of the dub version of the B-side of the single. And that's a straightforward, comprehensive, unashamed rock and roll show. And for the people who are waiting outside, Bruce Springsteen is not some romantic, faraway figure who sings about romantic, faraway things like pink Cadillacs and 6-lane highways and boardwalks and gang wars. He's a local boy, and the things he deals in are things they recognize only too well.
His lyrics, if you listen to his lyrics, they're beautiful, the way he writes everything he does. It is so nice. And him and Seeger, I like Seeger. He does it in Michigan. I think he's in Michigan. He does the same stuff where they live, where they come from, you know, is what they write about.
So where do you come from?
I come right up from Philly, right? Now, New York ain't my favorite town or nothing, and New Jersey ain't my favorite state. So, but the man's from there, I like him, and that's that.
I like his music. I think it's really good. He's got good words, you know, and lyrics and the whole bit.
Do you fancy him?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sexy. Sexy! Two dreams about him this week. Looking forward to Bruce.
You gotta hear
What
it.
happened?
Exclusive.
I want to know.
Well, the one night I got to meet him backstage, and I found $20, and then the next night, he had a ring, and he was married. And I said, he had a ring just like mine, he was married. And I said, you're married? I didn't, you know, I'm here to see him. I thought I would get to kiss him, you know, or if he comes to me, he's guaranteed.
The way he relates to the people, you know, he can really relate to his audience, you know. He doesn't single out certain people or just himself. He thinks he's great. He's a great going guy.
Well, he's one of us, you know. He's part of New Jersey.
He's got a lot of longtime fans. He's really had, you know, it's really a groundswell of activity here. It's been years since he's been here. And he started out in the smaller shows up by us in a small 3,000-seat theater, and now he can fill this. He can play 10 shows and still sell out every one.
He loves us, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
He loves Philadelphia.
Yes,
he really does.
I've seen the boss 6, 7 times from Michigan State to Jersey, and it's been like he just deals with the problems and the life of a lot of people that are 20s, 30s, teens. He's got a lot of energy, and I just enjoy his style.
It's not like we're watching it, we're it, you know? We're the concert more than we're watching the concert.
Bruce thinks if he loses his music, he ain't gonna have nothing. And he wouldn't have had if he never had his music, and he knows that. And he really enjoys to play, and it's fun to watch somebody that loves it.
He's the boss, you know. We call him the boss, and he is the boss.
Bruce does
And that's all
something
there is
extra
to
for
say.
us. Bruce does something extra for us. But
Just that feeling in Philadelphia.
you just got to go see him.
Bruce, I think the obvious question to ask somebody who's been on stage for 3.5 hours in front of, what, 20,000 people, is how do you feel? Are you tired? I mean, is that too obvious for you?
No, I feel fine, you know.
What sort of routine do you get into on tour, after shows? I mean, you must live at odd ends of the day.
I usually go home and I'll eat like dinner, you know, like around 2 a.m. or something, 2:30. And then sometimes I go out, you know, I take a walk or something. That's mainly, there's nothing open, you know. But I like to go out around the city at night and stuff. It's quiet and it's nice in the summertime. So I go out and do that, and I come back, and sometimes I'll read or listen to some music and go to sleep, you know, around, I guess I hit the hay around 5 or 6.
Now, the group, since you were in Britain anyway, has changed. Well, Steve Van Zandt left.
Yeah. And we got Nils Lofgren, plays guitar now, and there's a girl, Patty Scalfa, she sings.
I'm sure a lot of people were surprised when Nils Lofgren was brought in there. He was a front man in his own right, with quite a reputation.
Nils has played with other people. I mean, he played with Neil Young on his tours quite a bit, you know. And it's funny because I'd met him quite a while ago. You know, I guess we've been crossing each other's paths for about since 1969. First time I saw him was we auditioned at the Fillmore West in San Francisco when it was still open. And we played early in the night, then he came on with his band Grin that he had. And it was the first time I heard like the guitar sound like it was coming through a Leslie, an organ. And they sounded so full, and it was only the three of them. You know, he's a great guitar player. And when Steve decided to leave, I knew that Nils had the same feeling about the music, and it just, you know, he just fit right away, you know. So it's been great having him, you know. He's a lot of fun on stage, too.
The question people ask always, fans, critics, whoever, is why don't you make a live record?
Well, I don't know, you know. I don't know that a live record, what we do at this point, a lot of it is about being there, you know. Which is why we haven't done much television or too much of the video thing. A lot of it it allows too much distance. Like what our band is about breaking down distance. You know, it's the thing that we've always done since we started. And I think it's important that people, hey, they come out, you know, they come down, they go someplace where there's a bunch of other people. And then the other thing was a live record, a lot of times you're doing songs that you've done already. It's a little boring, I think, probably a little boring to work on, maybe, you know. But there are things that I want to re-record that, you know, I was unhappy with the original studio recordings of.
Such as?
The Darkness album, mainly. The Darkness record, which was a record that I thought had some of my best, a certain type of song. It had some of my best songs. Had a lot of good ideas, but I always felt that it was a little dry recording-wise. I felt like I oversang, and that we kind of underplayed and oversang a little bit, you know.
Mm.
So that stuff sounds quite a bit different in performance, and I'd be interested in getting different versions of a lot of those songs.
Doing another studio version of some of those songs, is it?
Not necessarily in the studio, but like a live record containing like Badlands and Prove It All Night and Promised Land.
The last few records, the songwriting seems to have become more concerned with rather bleak matters than it previously was. It seemed there was an exuberance, let's say, about something like Born to Run, which if you compare it with Born in the USA or Nebraska, seems to have gone to a certain extent and been replaced by something a little less optimistic. Is that true?
I don't know, I guess the last couple of records I've been mainly trying to write as realistically as possible, you know. And your perspective changes as you get older. You know, we're born to run when I was 25. I'm almost 35 now. And, you know, hopefully you become a better writer. When I was writing the Born to Run album, I was kind of interested in writing like bigger than life, you know, bigger than life size, real, very romantic and heroic, I guess. And lately, I guess mainly I've just tried to scale it down to what I feel life size is, you know. My concept of, I think what heroicness has changed quite a bit since those days.
In what way?
And it's like my sister, she got married when she was really young. She was like, I think 17 or 18, you know. And that was really hard. I had a real hard time. My brother-in-law was a construction worker, and then they stopped building the buildings, you know, when we had the recession. And they just went through a lot of real hard times, you know. They had a couple of kids. And, you know, it's like I see them now, and it's great. You know, they're like 12th, 13th anniversary or something, you know, and they're just doing real good, and the kids grew up, and they're real great, you know, great kids. And, you know, that was hard to do. That was something that was really hard to do, you know. And I guess if I had any heroes now, I'd be like, you know, like them, or you know, people that keep the world turning around a little bit.
What do you hope that people will sort of take away with them from a concert?
If it's a good night out, that's great. That's basically what it's meant to be, you know. People come and they can put aside whatever their worries are for a minute maybe and enjoy themselves, you know, and dance a little bit, you know, listen to the band, sing along a little bit. You know, I think I try to present a lot of different things so that it can be something. I think you could come and maybe it'll change the way you think about something, you know, maybe about the way you think about your life or your job or your friends or you know, I think you can do that. You know, we try to do it well enough so that it can do that. And at the same time, like I said, it could be just, you know, if it's a good date or something, you know, that's good too, you know, either whatever kind of people want and whatever they want to take from it, whatever they need at that moment is what I would hope that it would be, you know, if you come and you need, you know, some inspiration maybe, you know, I'd hope that maybe you can find a little bit, you know, find a little bit of it. Or if you just want to dance or if you want to take a girl out, you know, then, you know, that's there too. You know, you want to laugh or you want to think or you want to cry a little bit. You know, hopefully, it should be a combination of all those things, you know, I would hope.
Dancing in the Dark, you made a video for it,
Yeah.
which is something you hadn't actually done before.
Well, the video, we made a video before that, but I wasn't in it. We made it was a video of Atlantic City from the Nebraska record. And it came out real good. Then we made the Dancing in the Dark video. It was kind of like a performance thing, except the thing was I had a lip sync, which I didn't really like doing, you know.
Was the video kind of sort of forced upon you in the sense that MTV has changed things a great deal in America, hasn't it? And it is a good way to give yourself a leg up towards a big hit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been important certainly here in America, it's been important to a lot of people. I think it's probably easier to have a hit with a first record, you know, possibly, you know, than it was, because it was so difficult for people to get all the information on you. Mainly MTV provides all the physical information, you know, which is a big part of the rock and roll thing, you know. And the main audience that it seems to really be real important to is like the little kids, like from about, I don't know, 6, 7, real young, up to like pre-concert going age, you know, where they can't go out yet, you know, but they watch that MTV. I was go over a lot of my friends' houses that got kids, and they always tell me, man, they're glued to that MTV, you know? And, you know, my little nieces and stuff, they call me up and, you know, Uncle Bruce, you know, he said, oh, yeah, and when you gonna be on, when you gonna be on, you know? I said, well, I don't know, you know, and then we had the video on, oh, we saw you, and, you know, and they're like 7, 8, and like 10, you know? So it's taking the place of the cartoons, I think, actually, you know, for kids.
But know? It's not something you relish really that much, is it?
I don't know, I think, I guess my attitude is it reaches a lot of people, and basically I'm interested in doing something in that field. I don't know what, like I really haven't figured it out, mainly because it presents a set of unique problems which are very different than the way that I usually work, you know. One is very expensive most of the time. It's particularly since the production values of the videos have gotten so high. And they're made very quickly. You know, they're made very fast in a day or so. So there's this enormous input, an enormous financial input, and it's kind of a real roll of the dice, you know, and the way that I work is very different. I'll go in the studio and I'll spend a night, and if I don't like what I did, I throw it out, you know, and you know, basically you can afford to do that, you know, and I work very slow. I don't work fast, you know, and I work slow because I enjoy having the control over what I'm going to say and what my work is, you know, and I work somewhat collaboratively, but not near as much as, say, a video, you know, where there's a director and all this other stuff, you know. And generally on my records, I'm the director, you know. And so outside of, there's those problems, and then there's just the basic aesthetic problems of, if you're going to do a video, there's a few basic things that most people do. You know, one, you illustrate the song. That usually comes out bad, you know, because, you know, people should be allowed the freedom of their own imagination, for one thing, you know. It's like a song like, say like My Father's House or something was on the last record. And like I said, everybody sees a different house or a mansion on the hill. They see a different, you know, they see different fields, they see different, and my songs are filled with a lot of cinematic detail. And so I don't really consider having anything extra. Like when I write the song, it's finished, it's done, that's it. That's the music. Music is evocative, you know. It's meant to like evoke emotions and personal responses in the listener. And so when you do a video, either you illustrate the song, which in my case I can't do, because it's like, you know, you're going to paint a mustache on it or something, you know, and or you create another story to go over the song, you know, and that's kind of silly because there's a story already there. That's the story I wanted to tell. So to create another story to go along with it, that doesn't make sense either, you know. I've spent 20 years learning how to write so that when you hear a song, you get the information you need, you know, you get the experience and the emotion that you need. And I write with a lot of detail, and I'm proud of doing it, and I think that I do it well, you know. And so, you know, I'm hesitant to mess with that. So I just kind of gotta respect the integrity of the song, you know, a little bit. So, you know, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'd like to do something with it just because, but on the other hand, because it is a powerful tool. It is something that you can reach a lot of people and different types of people with.
Do you think ahead? Do you plan sort of a year or two ahead, vaguely what you're going to do?
I generally only go most of the time like night by night, because if I had to think about doing 6 shows, 4 hours each, I'd get tired, you know. So I only kind of take it night by night. But I mean, I do think like, well, we're gonna, you know, we want to tour Europe, obviously, again, in Japan this time, in Australia, in vaguely like that, you know.
But you're not going to be kind of withdrawing, let's say, like like the Rolling Stones did maybe in the mid-70s, you know, tour once every 2 years or something.
Well, that's what I do now, you know.
But I mean, no, but you seem to be working on things quite a lot, don't you? You're always working on records, it seems.
Well, that's because it takes so long, you know. It's like with drawing takes care of itself if you take a year and make a record. You know? It's like, so like usually what we do is the first tour in about 2.5 years. And I spent about a year making an album, you know, which I'm a slow worker, and I write a lot of songs, and I throw a lot of them out, and I keep some, and mainly because I'm trying to get, you know, to a certain idea or a certain, kind of have an idea what I want to do. But mainly, I don't see my, you know, my modus operandi changing that much, you know. I see that we got a long tour, you know, it goes about probably at least till the end of next summer.
You play generally big places like this, which compared to Britain are certainly big, which you obviously have to because of the numbers of people who want to see you. Can you remember how you learnt to project yourself in that kind of scale of place?
It wasn't that different, you know, and it was just a question of being conscious of who's out there and, you know, being kind of a little bit aware of the size of the crowd. And it's really much more of a mental thing. Once you get the physical things taken care of, like the adequate sound and lights and you know, the stage and all that stuff, then it's just mentally just being aware of the audience, you know, and it's really, it's not that different than playing a theater, you know, and a lot of times the numbers, like our band now, which is, it's a thing where the crowd is very important. You know, the audience is very important in the show. Just when they are singing and they sing a lot of the songs, and just the sound of all those people, it's an amazing sound. I like it now. I like playing in these places quite a bit. You know, I really enjoy it.
Do you find it a problem reconciling having to play Born to Run, Jungle Land, Rosalita, so forth, and also trying to do new material?
No, because I still like playing all those songs mainly, you know. It's something where I think they were good songs. Like Born to Run, I think, is a song that sounds a little bit different now, you know, if you've heard Nebraska and if you've heard Born in the USA. At the end of the night when you hear Born to Run, I think it contains all those things, you know. It can contain the years, the extra 10 years that, you know, extra mileage that I put on myself. I think that it can contain that, you know, and that when you hear it, it breathes with those years, you know. It opens up a little bit and lets that stuff in, lets those experiences in. And, you know, it's a funny thing, because after I wrote the Nebraska record, and I said, well, gee, I wonder if what it'll be like when I sing those songs, you know. Do I still believe those songs? And, you know, when I thought about it, I wasn't sure, but when I sang it, I knew that I did, you know. Just, it's just all different parts of life, you know. It's just all a different part of life. And I like it because the audiences, they've made a lot of those songs their own. They sing it, and that song is kind of like as much their song as it is my song, you know, and we kind of trade off on it, and it makes it means more, you know. It means more because it means more to people, you know.